Well, little Boosie came out and put a beef to rest. We've all assumed that this beef between him and Kevin Gates has been going on. There's two records where they were going back and forth at each other. And then there was this Kentucky Derby fight that happened amongst their crews. Kevin Gates was on set, little Boosie was next up, and a big fight broke out. And we assumed that Boosie and Kevin Gates were going at it. They even took subliminals on each other's Snapchats. Kevin Gates said, yo, so one of you lost your phone. Hey, we're going to leave it at the hotel we were staying at. You can go pick it up. You know what the hotel it was. It was like a whole back and forth. It didn't really go much further than there. I mean, little Boosie is on probation and he doesn't want to get involved in anything like that. He can't have that stuff going on around him. And then Kevin Gates, he's not one to duck down from a beef, but he doesn't really give it too much attention. Well, anyways, Boosie was on the Breakfast Club, and that was asked at the end, and I'm glad Angela Yee asked him this question. He said, nah, that was, sometimes my people get out of hand, and his DJ was taking too long to get off stage when we got on, and it just went a little too far, and they had a problem amongst themselves that had nothing to do with me and Kevin Gates. He said, I have no problem with Kevin Gates. I'm a grown-ass man. I have no problems with anybody. If I had a problem with somebody, I wouldn't talk about it. I would do something about it. Boosie, I believe things that Boosie says. He's believable. Same with Kevin Gates. Very believable. I believe what they say. Boosie stood up, did his time. Kevin Gates did his time prior to that. These guys aren't out here scared of going to jail. All that kind of stuff. So it's I'm just glad that they're not beefing. Let's just get to that point. I'm glad they're not beefing. They're both from New Orleans area. The Baton Rouge. Right outside of New Orleans. So they both came up from hard circumstances. They're both making money. They're both being able to support their family. And there's no reason for these guys to be beefing. I know they had a mutual friend that got killed, or someone got killed in Kevin Gates' crew or something. But supposedly by one of Boosie's crew. I remember that whole thing that happened, and that's why they were instigating that there was a beef between the two. I mean, I'm sure they're not best friends. They haven't been on tracks together, okay? I think Kevin Gates has even been quoted saying, I'll never do a track with him. But that doesn't mean they have to be beefing. They don't have to like each other. But they don't have to be beefing at the same time. They can exist within the same space and not have a problem with each other. So I'm glad Boosie cleared the air on that, because now I want to erupt into something else. I mean, they already had that little spat. What was it, a year ago that happened? So glad that's over with, and glad they cleared the air on that.